Good morning and welcome. We are so glad you're here with us today. Today is Tuesday, July 28th, 2026, and we are here for our 9 a.m. Administrative Matters meeting here for the Larimer County Board of County Commissioners in our Administrative Services building in the hearing room on the first floor. I'm calling this meeting to order, and as our tradition, we start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Would you please stand and join me? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for joining us as you could for the Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning, Clerk and Recorder Harris. Nice to see you. I am Larimer County Commissioner Jody Shad-McNally, Chair of the Board of County Commissioners. And again, welcome. Thank you for joining us. We are so pleased to have you all today. We have some special guests today we'll get to later. But first, I want to just say, as chair, I just wanted to also acknowledge some other people in the room working with us at the dais. I have Commissioner Stevens and Commissioner Kofalis, and we also have our clerk and recorder to the board is Diane Cheney this morning. Good morning, Diane. We also have our county manager, Lorenda Volker. We have Tom Clayton from the commissioner's office, or from the public information office. We also have Michelle Bird, who's tucked behind there, but she is our public affairs and public information office manager, director, and then we have Jill Mosh from that public affairs office as well, who will be helping us with our schedule and other items today. So with that, we'll open up for public comment. I don't see anybody signed up, Jill, but I'll go ahead and ask everyone in the room. We have some guests, but they'll be speaking later. But I want to just see if anyone in the room would like to make public comment. You would have 3 minutes. Okay, Jill, I'll see if there's anyone online. I don't believe we had anybody signed up to give public comment.
There is not.
All right, so we'll close public comment and move on for the approval of minutes. Do any of the other commissioners have any things they'd like to change or adjust on the minutes? Okay, so Commissioner Stevens, I would ask you to please make that motion.
Yes, Madam Chair, I move to approve the minutes for the week of July 20th, 2026.
Thank you. I appreciate that motion. Any further deliberation? All those in favor? Aye. That passes 3-0. Okay, let's move on to the upcoming schedule. I do have some additions after you get done reading, Jill, but let's proceed. Thank you.
This is the draft commissioner schedule for August 3rd through 8th, 2026. On Monday, August 3rd at 1:30, there will be a work session with Leslie Ellis, the Director of Community Planning, Infrastructure, and Resources in the Commissioners' Conference Room. At 6 p.m., the Commissioners will attend the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association Rodeo at Blue Arena. Tuesday, August 4th at 9 a.m., there will be an Administrative Matters meeting in this room on the first floor, followed by Legal Matters. At 11:30 a.m., Commissioner Shad-McNally will attend the Rodeo Board Luncheon at Blue Arena. At 1:30 p.m., the Commissioners will attend Administrative Direction to County Management. At 6 p.m., the Commissioners will attend the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association Rodeo at Blue Arena. Wednesday, August 5th at 9:45 a.m., Commissioner Shad-McNally will speak at the Larimer County New Employee Orientation in the hearing room. At 12 p.m., Commissioners may attend the Junior Livestock Sale Dinner at the Ranch. At 1 p.m., Commissioner Shad-McNally may participate in the virtual Regional Opioid Abatement Council Learning Forum. At 3 p.m., there will be a special meeting to consider referee recommendation for the Board of Equalization in the Commissioners' Conference Room. At 6 p.m., Commissioner Stevens may participate in the High Plains Boulevard Coalition meeting, which is hybrid. At 6:30 p.m., Commissioner Stevens may attend the North Interstate 25 Coalition meeting at the Southwest Weld County Service Center. Thursday, August 6th at 8:30 a.m., Commissioner Stevens may participate in the virtual statewide Transportation Advisory Council meeting. At 6 p.m., Commissioner Stevens will attend the North Front Range Metropolitan Planning Organization Transportation Planning Council meeting, which is hybrid. Friday, August 7th at 8:30 a.m., Commissioner Shad-McNally will participate in the virtual Forest Health Council Legislative Committee meeting. At 8:30 a.m., Commissioner Kofalis will attend the State Board of Human Services meeting in Denver or via Zoom. And Saturday, August 8th at 12 p.m., Commissioner Kofalis may attend the Poudre River Fest at New Belgium Brewing Company in Fort Collins.
Thank you, Jill. Commissioners, do you have any other changes? Commissioner Stevens?
Yeah, thank you, Jill. I have a couple of additions to my schedule. On Wednesday, August 5th, from 2 to 3 p.m., I will be part of the SNAP cost share scenario with the state departments and CCI. And then on Friday, August 7th, from 9:30 to 1:30, I'll be doing an urban land conservancy tour in Denver with the Fort Collins Urban Renewal Authority. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Stevens. Commissioner Kafalis.
I'm good to go.
Okay, Joe, I have a few things changed for me. So on, sorry, I'm going to pull up the schedule just to make sure I have this correct. So on August 3rd, I might still try to go to the Sensory Day, or August 3rd. So I wanted to mark that I still might try to head over to do the Sensory Day, which is from 2 to 4 p.m. I know we have other meetings, but I just wanted to say that if I can make it over there, I'm going to. So I want to make sure that was on there. Let's see. We have on Tuesday, you got the rodeo board, okay. Then on Wednesday, August 5th, I wanted to add that I do have the regional opioid abatement forum, and oh yes, that is, okay, great. I didn't see it before, so I want to make sure that was there. On Friday, Thursday, I'm going to be attending in the evening the community affordable housing discussion with Representative Basenecker and others at the Loveland Library, and I believe that is from 6 to 8 on Thursday, August 6th. On Saturday, August 8th, I need to add that I will be with the Forest Trends group along with some folks from Boulder County for a Switzerland Trail joint field mitigation tour. And then I will come up and be part of the League of Women's Voters. And that is from 8:30 to noon, maybe a little sooner. And then I will be coming up to the League of Women Voters Voting Rights Panel, which will be at Front Range Community College, and that is from 1:30 to 4. And so I want to make sure that was on my list. And then I will head over to the Poudre River Fest, so you can add me as well onto the Poudre River Fest, because I'll be there probably from 4 to 5. And I think that's all I wanted to add. Thank you. Okay. Moving on. So we have our consent agenda. And a consent agenda consists of items of no perceived controversy and routine administrative actions such as abatements, agreements, deeds, final plats, liquor licenses, resolutions, and other matters previously reviewed by the Board of County Commissioners. Staff recommends approval of the consent agenda, and a commissioner may request that an item be pulled off the agenda considered separately. Items from the agenda will be considered after the board takes action on the remainder of the consent agenda. I'm going to read through very briefly and at a high level, without much detail, our consent agenda for today, Tuesday, July 28th, 2026. If you want more information and need more details, you're going to be able to find those on our Board of County Commissioners website, where you can go in our agendas and meeting minutes, videos, emails, all those things, but details of this consent agenda are in our administrative packet for today on that website. We'll start with the agreements. We have three agreements. First is a professional service agreement P26-03, CMAR, the Ranch Phase 2 master plan projects. And this is a pre-construction agreement with the county and a contractor who will be the construction manager at risk for the Ranch Phase 2 master plan projects. And you can look about those details in that amount. And then we have another agreement, a grant award agreement, which I'm very excited that it's finally getting moving. But we were awarded, I believe, last year, the year before. But this actually it was last year. The Community Wildfire Defense Grant, CWDG, which is named Protecting the Gateway to the Rockies Wildfire Defense Project. And this is through our Office of Emergency Management. And this is the draft representative letter that sign the name of authorized representatives for the administration of the grant. And this is a grant that we won in September 2025 for the determination of award through the U.S. Forest Service Community Wildfire Defense Grant Program for implementing the Protecting the Gateway of the Rockies Defense Project. And this is fantastic. We have another one up in Red Feather Lakes, and this is rewarding us with that as a pass-through through Colorado State University, so we can do that project and do education and community building and help with protecting that area in their watersheds. It's a decent amount, but just a drop in the bucket for all the mitigation work that's required and needed across our wonderful county. And I'm very excited to have something to be keeping the work and trying to expand to the scale and scope needed in our county. So now we also have a third agreement, which is Larimer County and Redesign Hardware Software Contract, and that is through our IT, our Information Technology Department. And this is a renewal of the current contract, hardware and software contracts. And so that's important to keep rolling. And we have another agreement. We have a letter of support for Sunrise Community Health for a grant application, which is a letter of support for the Rural Health Transformation Program grant application submitted by Sunrise Community Health. And then we have a few liquor licenses, several of them today. We have their liquor license special event, 6% Rock Garden Concert, which is for Project Self-Sufficiency of Northern Colorado. And this is a special event liquor permit for 6%. And then we have a liquor license special event permit, 6% for Rock Garden Concert. And this is for the Matthews House. Same location, but different organization for the Matthews House, and this is a special event liquor permit for 6%. We have another liquor license renewal for Lehigh Ranch at the Forks LLC, and this is for the second floor of the Forks Tavern. And then we have, again, Lehigh Ranch at the Forks LLC, and this is at the Forks in Livermore. Both are in Livermore, Colorado, and the Forks, the second one is for the Forks, the first floor. And so they'll just make sure those are noted. And then we have a liquor license renewal, Dish Up 2 LLC for Vern's Place in LaPorte, Colorado, and that's for a hotel and restaurant. We have some miscellaneous items. We have one is a staff resources to support behavioral health, and that's submitted by our fabulous facilities director, Mr. Ken Cooper. And this is for supporting behavioral health at our Longview facility, as we had opened the adolescent clients and some of the increased care. And so this is a needed FTE facilities out there. And so very excited to support behavioral health services with that. And then the other two miscellaneous are two tax stipulations or stipulations for tax year 2025. I won't read through all of those. And then lastly, we have resolutions. One is first the finding resolutions denying in part and granting in part the Livermore Fire Protection District fee appeal. Then we have a findings and resolutions approving the ACOT plat boundary line adjustment and easement. And then thirdly is when both of those hearings were held on July 13th, 2026. And then we have an amended resolution appointing arbitrators to hear appeals of the Larimer County Board of Equalization decisions. And that's all that's on our consent agenda today. Colleagues, are there any items you wish to pull from the agenda? Without seeing anyone who is interested in pulling that, I would ask Commissioner Kofalos to please make that motion.
Madam Chair, I just want to comment that on the first resolution, number 1, regarding the Livermore Fire Protection District, I believe it says that we had the hearing on July 13th, 2026, and I believe the hearing was on June 22nd, 2026. So I wish to offer that as a correction.
Okay, both of those were listed as July 13th, 2026. So let's, Lorinda, if we can have, I think those were both at the same, I think they were separate hearings. They're different hearings, so if we could please have that changed or corrected and look at that. Thank you.
We will do that. Yes, thank you.
Okay, so with that, Commissioner Gonzalez, any with that correction, are there things you wish to pull for the agenda, or would you make that motion, please?
Yes, I move to approve the consent agenda for July 28th, 2026.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
That passes 3-0. Great. Let's move on. We have a few commissioner guests. First, Commissioner Stevens has the Larimer County Fair and PRCA Rodeo Queen, Addie Gregory, and the Queen Coordinator, Michelle Wilcox, who will be our guest. And then I have guest Tina Harris from the Clerk and Recorder's Office. But first, we'll go with the 2026 Rodeo Queen, Addie Gregory. And Michelle, come on forward and welcome. We're so excited to have you here today.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for having both of us this morning. Firstly, I wanted to thank you all for your support of this program this year and every year. It's very, very, very much appreciated by us. I'd also like to invite you all out to the fair. I know you'll be there many, many days, but the event that's coming up most quickly is our barbecue on the 30th. This barbecue benefits our program and helps keep our scholarship alive. I'd also like to invite you all out to the drone show we have going on August 2nd. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And I know Commissioner Shattuck McNally, you mentioned Sensory Day on the 3rd. That's a really great day to come out as well. Those kiddos really do love coming out to the fair in a way that supports them and their sensory needs. I also wanted to invite you to the Pancake Breakfast the morning of August 2nd. That's another great community event. People come out, have a great time. I'd love to see you all there, and I believe Michelle has some more as well.
So again, just wanted to thank everybody for their support. We can't do this without all of your support, so truly appreciate that, along with the support that we get from the ranch staff and Connor McGrath too. They help us tremendously also. So as Addie mentioned, our Queen Barbecue Thursday, it's also our 75th anniversary. So it's 75 years of the Queen program. So we'll be celebrating that at the barbecue. Would love to see you there. We'll also be at the event lawn ribbon cutting on Friday. That'll be with all the changes that have happened there at the ranch. That'll be a big event. Rodeo again Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Tuesday our coronation of our 2027 Rodeo Queen, which is Hannah Chambers. So hope to see you all there too. So thanks again for all of your support.
Thank you so much, and maybe we can take a picture with the Queen before she leaves today. And if you don't mind, Clerk Harris, we might pause to do that. Maybe you can join us for the photo. So, colleagues, do you have any questions or comments for the Queen? Commissioner Stevens, your hand is up.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. So Michelle and Addie are very modest, and they do a ton of hard work. So I just want to acknowledge the work that you both do and that the whole Fair Board does to make sure the fair happens. So people might not be aware, but the Fair Board plans the fair along with ranch staff. They work the fair. They're there, kind of morning, noon, and night every day of the fair and many days before the fair. And we just had the parade on Saturday, and everybody was working that as well. So just really want to appreciate everybody on the Fair Board. Want to appreciate Addie's work. And Addie, I just wonder if you would share just during our Fair Board meetings, Addie shares how many miles she's driven to represent Larimer County. And she also logs the hours that she's done. So she goes to other rodeos. She assists in judging in other places. She does flags at other rodeos. And so she does a lot of work representing Larimer County. So maybe you can just share a little bit of that, and then just approximately how many hours you've put in the past year.
Yeah, I've driven approximately 4,300 miles, and I'm sure that will get larger as fair goes on, and I've served 473 and a half hours.
And can you talk about maybe some of the rodeos or some of the different places you've been, or maybe some highlights that you want to share?
Absolutely, yeah. I've gotten to do some really cool things this year. I just finished up Rooftop Rodeo earlier in the month of July. That was probably my favorite. It's gorgeous there. I got to partake in a lot of flag carrying, meet a lot of folks, and it's a Larimer County event, so that's even more fun to be in my home county at another rodeo. Besides that, I got to present the flag, the American flag, on the football field of my high school. And that's not been something I think any other queen has done. So I'm really happy to say that I think I'm the only one that's done that one so far. And that was by far the most unique event that I've gotten to do. And I'm really, really thankful for that opportunity.
Thank you, Addie, and thank you, Michelle, for all your support of this program, because Michelle does a lot of support, including fundraising and planning the Queen's Barbecue, and is a member of the Fair Board, and so does all that other work in addition to the fair work, that the Queen work that you do. So just really both of you just really appreciate everything that you do. It's a real pleasure working with you. And yeah, everybody go to the fair. It's going to be a great time, and folks have worked really hard, but there's a lot of fun activities planned, and I hope you'll join us one of the days or all of the days. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Falls, any comments or questions?
Sure.
Sorry, you get to talk, all three commissioners get permission to speak, and so we all get to, you'll have to wait because we all are going to make comments. So, and even the chair gets to make comments, so don't walk away after Commissioner Kafals. Thanks.
I'll be brief, just to reaffirm what Commissioner Stevens said. Thank you very much. A lot of gratitude for your exceptional leadership, Addie and Michelle, for your support. I don't know all the nuances, the details that were shared as far as how you're involved with the Fair Board and all sorts of things. I think you've done an exemplary job of representing the county in all different kinds of settings, so much gratitude for that. And I look forward to participating in the events that you folks shared. I always like the mashed potatoes at the barbecue. And I suppose one question I have is perhaps you could remind us where you're at in your schooling and what your educational goals are. I imagine you'll continue to change the world in a good way, so please continue doing that.
I'm certainly going to try. I graduated from Berthoud High School just this last May, and then I'm headed to Sterling, Colorado shortly after fair concludes to pursue a degree in emergency medical services. And then after that, I'm headed for law enforcement. So that's the plan.
Wow. I know a county that might have some good job openings in a few years. Excellent. Thank you kindly, folks. Thank you.
As a former EMT, and some family has been in EMS for over 44 years, just it's needed. So I wish you all the best with that. I actually did that for a few years before I got married, so it's important work. As the liaison to the rodeo, and I'm very proud of our rodeo board and the work they do to put on a really award-winning rodeo. And I know you spend a lot of time at the rodeo riding and with all the flags and all the orientation. Thank you for helping support the rodeo and being part of that, because I know you are the rodeo queen, so it's really important to the representation that you are there. I saw you. I didn't get a chance to connect at the rooftop. It's always great to be up there. It's one of a kind location, and I appreciate the rooftop rodeo queen being in our parade. So it's really wonderful that you're all there, and it was great to see you. We didn't get our selfie, so we'll do that later. But I did get a picture of you. You ended up in my little social media video. But I just want to say thanks for all that you do. I saw you at the Poudre Valley REA breakfast. It's always great how they support the Queens and have you all there, and that's really wonderful. Being so close to Berthoud, knowing how important Berthoud is to my family, it's where my mom was born. It's really a special community, so I think it's really special that you are from Berthoud and brought that out for the flag. I'm sure that was very special for you, and I'm really glad you shared that today. I look forward to I always plan on coming to the barbecue and the pancake breakfast, and it's always fun. I hope we've broken records the last two mornings or breakfasts. I think we're close to. It was a lot of people. I won't say the number. I think it was 2,000 last year. It was close to 1,500, something like that. It was amazing. So I know we'll be busy. Look forward to supporting all those activities. My family knows the Fair and Rodeo Week. I have, lots of time out there, and so we try to find time for meals in between. But I look forward to seeing you in the dirt on the rodeo floor, since the rodeo board has worked so hard to make everything timed to the second, as you know, with the rodeo and all the things behind the scenes that just like the fair board that works so hard, the rodeo board is just because we're on TV and being filmed, it's just got to be, the script has to be to the second, and things have to keep moving. So Michelle, you've been in a lot of those meetings. You have been diligent and just trying to help support, the Queen and all the things you do. And I'm sure it's going to be a really fabulous barbecue. And thanks for reminding us it was 75 years. I think, Larimer County is celebrating 65th anniversary this year, where one of the original 11 counties, they keep trying to sing that loud and proud because we're 165 years, and Colorado's 150, but we were Larimer County for Colorado's state, and then we have the 250, and so I think it's a remarkable year that we're celebrating our 165th. You're celebrating 75 years of the Queen program, 150 Colorado history, and our Great Nations 250. And so I think it's a special year. I look forward to all the special things that I know the rodeo board has organized and gotten ready for the rodeo, and I look forward to seeing you all around those stalls and downstairs as we're all doing your thing. I don't think people saw how fast you guys have to ride, and you ride underneath the stands, and you're coming over here and grabbing this flag. I just want to share that because even Michelle, everybody between the rodeo board and the fair board, there's just so many things behind the scenes that everyone has worked so hard on that people don't see. They see what was happening out in the arena or maybe out in the fair and all the thing that's set up. It is truly a labor of love and passion and purpose, but also just a lot of volunteer hours and a lot of wonderful coordination by our ranch staff who work so hard to support these events. And it is really a legacy and heritage and important to our rich culture and history here in Larimer County. So thank you for being here today. And it's lovely to see you. Rhonda, I know you have some things you'd like to add, so we'll let you wrap it up and then we'll pause for a photo.
I just want to say congratulations. I think folks don't realize the role that the Rodeo Queen plays. You really are the ambassador to the program for the year, and you have really worked yourself, I think, far beyond what anyone else has expected you to commit. You have been a great queen. You looks forward to seeing what happens in your future. And Michelle, this would not happen without you. This is a leadership program, and it takes leaders like you in the community to help support the program. And it's all important work. It's not frivolous. Fair is not frivolous. It really is a celebration of our agricultural heritage and the idea that rodeo is a sport, and we've embraced it as a community. So thank you both for what you do to support it.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I wish you all luck in endeavors. I'll probably see you out in the EMS field. So, and let's go ahead and pause right now for members of the audience. We're going to take a brief moment to take a photo, and then we'll return momentarily. Thank you. Thank you and welcome back. We appreciate your patience as we took a brief moment to take some photos with our fabulous rodeo queen, who I encourage you all to go out into the fair and rodeo. We have the RQ. You have to buy tickets for that, but that's on Thursday. And then there's activities. There's a ribbon cutting on the 31st for the great event lawn. I'm sure the queen, everyone will be there. And I know she loves taking photos with everybody. So please come see her and everyone else on the event lawn. ribbon cutting and lots of other activities starting on Friday would be fantastic. I always enjoy those. So now we're on to our guest. I'm glad to have Tina Harris as my guest. So come on in, clerk and recorder for Larimer County, Tina Harris. I know you're giving us a primary election update. I look forward to that. Good morning. Great to see you.
Good morning. Thank you so much. I am Tina Harris. I am the clerk and recorder. And this morning I'm going to provide you with an update for our 2026 primary election. But before I do that, one of the things that I want or share the highlights that I want to do is really recognize the election team behind all of this, right? So conducting an election isn't just about election day. It takes months to prepare for an election. We have to plan that election. We have to test that equipment. We have to proof the ballots. So there's a lot that goes into it. Recruiting and training election judges. I don't think people really understand or recognize the amount of work that goes into that. Processing the ballots, conducting the audits, and ensuring every step is completed accurately and with transparency. So that's one of our passions, is to make sure that all of that is done accurately. And I am incredibly proud of the election staff and also all of the departments, because it's not just elections or the clerk and recorder's office. There's many departments that actually support us behind the scenes. Human resources supports us, recruiting supports us, payroll supports us, IT supports these efforts. And so I want to make sure that they are recognized here, because I'm so grateful for them. And also the hundreds of election judges that actually step up to serve our community. We couldn't do it without any of them. And so, their professionalism and commitment shines through every single election. And it's a great reminder, especially to the community, that our election judges are going to be a family member. They're going to be your neighbor. They're going to be your friend, or they're your friends. So please understand that the folks that are conducting this election are those people. So let's get right into the 2026 primary election. It has been successfully completed. We completed the risk limiting audit on July 14th, and everything came out just fine. So we did confirm that the voting system accurately tabulated or counted the ballots that were cast. The election was officially certified on July 17th, so that's all wrapped up. If you want more information or you want to dive deeper into that certification and the election, you can go out to our website at vote.larimer.gov. No Colorado in there. We had 269,670 eligible electors, with 99,236 ballots tabulated, resulting in an overall turnout of 36.8%, almost 37%. And here's a quick snapshot of how the voters participated. So 99,776 ballots were returned by mail. And when I say, or mail ballots were returned, they weren't actually returned. That's a combination of being dropped in our drop box and then receiving them through the USPS. We accepted 97,845 ballots. 1,931, or 1.9% of those ballots were rejected for various reasons. It could have been a missing signature. They could have been late arrivals, but there were other issues with those ballots that we couldn't process because of whatever the law is in place, the prescribed by law. In-person ballots cast, 1,390. We had 3 vote centers open. So that's where people go into the vote center and they cast their ballot in person. We had 8 provisional ballots cast during this election. 1 was accepted, 7 were rejected, and that's for various reasons. The Colorado the primary, Colorado unaffiliated voters continue to participate in party primaries by selecting a ballot of their choice. So, unaffiliated voters selecting the Democratic ballot, 31,738 voted a Democratic ballot, and 10,522 voted a Republican ballot. So that is really a snapshot of what took place here during this election. And then we're moving on to a new project. Before we even finished our primary election, we had to get right into the general election, right? But in the meantime, what we're going to do, we have a project that I'm particularly excited about. We're currently developing a virtual tour of our central count facility called Life of a Ballot. That will be out there on our website. We anticipate that the launch date will be September 1st. Or if that's the holiday, I'm not sure what day that falls on, but if that's around the holiday, very soon after. This educational resource will walk voters through every step of the process, because a lot of voters don't know what happens after they drop their ballot off in a drop box. Or they return it by mail. So this is going to walk them through every step of that process, because this is part of that voter education campaign that we have going right now. We want to ensure that people understand what that looks like, because what that does is it really builds confidence in our elections. And as we look forward to November, there's a couple of things that I would like to ask our community to do. I have about 3 things. These are all important. So as you begin to prepare, one of the first things I would like for everybody to do is go out and check your voter registration. This is key because we want to make sure that your address is updated, your mailing address is updated. Make sure your phone number and email address is updated. If they are not included in your voter record, add them, because that allows us to get to contact you pretty quickly, especially if there is an issue that we need to get resolved. Second, once you've voted your ballot, I encourage everybody to use one of our 24 secure 24-hour drop boxes. The reason for this, there's 2 reasons. One, we want to ensure that ballot gets received by the 7 p.m. deadline on election day. And number 2, that also ensures or guarantees chain of custody throughout the the entire process. So that is key to making sure that your ballot is actually received and tabulated. If you return it by mail, the post office does a great job getting that ballot to you, but once you vote it, I would not, if you can drop it in a drop box, do that. If you don't have any other option, that's okay too. Finally, here's a big ask. You never know what life is going to throw your way, right? My campaign or my message is, if folks could vote early, that would be wonderful. The number one question we get asked is, why are results not ready? Or why can't we provide results at 7:01 p.m. after the election? Well, here's the thing. Everybody, or not everybody, more than 50% of the ballots that we receive for an entire election are received on election day. A large majority of those get returned to the counting facility after 7 p.m. because they are scattered throughout the county. So we have to have our ballot security teams go out and collect those ballots and bring them back in. So even those ballots that we receive on election day and after 7 p.m. still have to go through the same verification process that the ballots received before then. So that would help us. That would get those results out earlier to everyone. Let's see. I think that's really it. From the day ballots were mailed through certification, our team, the elections team, the election judges, the staff, we processed almost 100,000 ballots in just a short period of time. So the work that they do is tremendous, and they really need to be recognized for that work. And so, as always, we're committed to ensuring that the elections are conducted by Colorado by law and rule, and making sure that we are always transparent and accurate in everything that we do. And I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Tina. As always, just some fabulous data and information. Thank you so much. And I agree with you. Vote early. I know you guys work so hard, and your team is amazing. So I'll see if my the other commissioners have any questions. We'll start with Commissioner Kofalos.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thanks. Thank you, Tina. Excellent and very interesting presentation. Appreciate that. Please express our gratitude to the election division team, from the person who oversees a lot of that to all of the election judges. So please do that.
Yes.
I suppose a question I have is regarding I think you said 36.8% turnout in this primary election off year. How does that compare the last couple of years?
It's actually it might be a little bit more than another primary that we had, a similar primary. So we're right on target.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you kindly.
Mm-hmm.
Commissioner Stevens.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Tina. Really appreciate the update. And, I think that I appreciate you also, reassuring Larimer County that our elections are run fairly and that vote counts are accurate. And the audit helps, I believe, kind of with that. Just, that's a double check on that process, even though we know the process. But I love the idea of the Life of a Ballot, the virtual tour, because I know some people have been able to tour the voting center. But for those who can't or who just want to understand the process, it's really fascinating, actually. And the checks and double checks in your system, that redundancy to make sure everything's done really well and really accurately. I think people will be surprised at that level of detail that you all have to maintain to make sure that elections are safe and fair and correctly counted. So really appreciate the extra effort that you go not only to make sure the elections are good, but to make sure voters understand the process, because I think that that's really important right now. I think there's a lot of misinformation out there around elections, and anything we can do to clear that up and make sure that people know that in the state, but especially in Larimer County, we are you are very detailed in this work. So really appreciate that. Can you talk just a little bit about when a ballot is rejected? People are allowed to kind of make those corrections if they voted early enough where that's caught, or I think maybe even after the fact, right? If they haven't signed or they've done something that's confusing on their ballot, they have the ability to, I believe you call it cure the ballot or something like that. Can you just explain that process just a little bit?
You bet. So, curable ballots are when there is a discrepancy with the signature or you forget to sign your return envelope. So, you'll have 8 days after Election Day to cure that. So, if you vote earlier, that gives you enough time to cure those. So, what happens is when we receive them and we know that we can't accept the signature that's on there, or if it's missing, you will get a letter in the mail. You'll also, if you have a email address on your voter registration, we will also reach out to you by email. That's one of the reasons I encourage everybody to at least add their email. Maybe if they're not comfortable with their phone number, add your email address. Because that just gives you an extra layer of notification. Also, sign up for ballot tracks if there is an issue and you need to cure your ballot for whatever reason. You will get a notification through ballot tracks. So we do everything to try and get that information back to you as quickly as possible. There are some rejection reasons that are not curable, and that is specifically in a primary. That is when an unaffiliated voter votes both ballots. And so we usually see an uptick in our rejected ballots in a primary election, because of that reason. And so the other part of what we are going to be working towards, and we have a little time, but we still are going to research it and dive deep into it, is to figure out a way. There's very specific instructions in the ballot envelope when you receive your ballot, but we really want to figure out a way how to prevent that from happening. So what we saw is they voted the front of a Democratic ballot and the back of a Republican ballot and submitted both of them. So we're going to look for ways to try and mitigate some of those issues.
That's great. Well, thank you again for your work. Thank you for coming to talk to us. And I'm sure you'll talk to us in the future as we get closer to the general election about just reminding folks about some of these things and what, that you can still register day of, I believe still.
Day of.
And just some of the things that you want to remind people about when ballots are coming out and any additional information. So obviously the chair will likely welcome you and we will all welcome you back to speak to us then. Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, thank you for coming and providing such fabulous information, and especially about some of the life of the ballot and some of those things. I think it's really great, all that we do to show folks how this works, demystify kind of the process, show all the security, extra security, the tight extra security, and process for how their ballot and their vote gets counted. And I love getting the little text messages, your ballot's been received. And if pills haven't signed up for that, it's also really a nice thing to have. It's another sense of like, hey, my ballot got in, yay. Yeah. Oh, the signature got valid. So then if you know it's moving along. And I think that's another nice thing to have. You mentioned about the unaffiliated and voting both ballots. Do you know if there? I mean, I know that's kind of something people like learn in the long way. But is that something you think any further education or push to kind of help with that would be helpful? Or what are your thoughts on that? I'm curious.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that we're going to dive deep into before the next primary election, because we think that is something that we could up our, I don't want to say up our game, but we could be a little more communicative outside of just that voter information that's in there, the instructions that are in there. Some of the things that we're looking at is there a way that we can insert those ballots so there's a clear definition between the two ballots? Maybe not put something on the back of each ballot, right? So people aren't, so what's happening, or what we've noticed, that the two ballots are folded together, but they're not separating them. Even though the instructions say separate, you have two ballots and here separate. We get lots of calls saying, I only received one ballot. Well, separate. So we're looking at ways that we can kind of either separate those ballots, and that would be a conversation with our vendor to see if there is a way that we could put two separate folded ballots in there so that it's easier, or maybe we go to a longer ballot and not put anything on the back. And when I say longer ballot, people get intimidated. Right now, this ballot we were all relieved that it was 8.5 by 11, right? So going to an 8.5 by 14 with only the front and nothing on the back, that's not as intimidating. But we've had some pretty long ballots the last couple of elections, and so people are becoming a little fatigued.
That's a great point, and thank you for sharing that. That's very interesting. If folks were interested in, I know you shared a lot of data. If folks were interested, you're saying this is on the website, they can look at how many percentage, how many turned in, and things like that. So.
Yes, we have a wonderful, not only can you go out and look at this past election, but you can look at historical elections. We have a wonderful data dashboard out there. That was something we implemented last year. So you can go out and look at the history of all the elections and dive pretty deep into that. Yeah. So that's at vote.larimer.gov.
Thank you so much. I knew that was new, and I have some folks who have commented on it that they really, they liked going down rabbit holes and looking at that stuff, and they were very pleased to see all of that. So that's great. Thank you so much for being here today. Lorena, do you have anything you wanted to add? I know, you meet with the clerk, but she's just been such an amazing partner, and I appreciate her coming in and providing all this information for us and also the public.
I think we have a clerk who is a wonderful county partner. And so thank you for your work with facilities and HR and IT and all of the team members who help to support your effort. It is really important that we approach this as a team. And for the public's benefit, the way that the security is worked at the vote centers is incredible. If you have a chance, take the tour, The Life of the Ballot. It is very informative. You will come out being able to explain to your friends and family about all the ways that Larimer County protects their ballot and their vote. And so thank you for that work. Thank you to Michelle for that work. You are a strong team internally, and you certainly are a great partner for the county.
Thank you.
Thank you.
May I touch on the security?
Yes.
Part of that. One of the things I think is a misconception is that security is not one thing. It's a ton of things, and they all work together. There's contingency plans, there's layers upon layers upon layers of security. So let's say if someone could potentially breach one part of that, that's it, because there's so many different layers. It's not just one thing and it's not just one process. So that's something I'm extremely proud of, especially, and that's statewide. It's not just Larimer County. Larimer County's security looks different than other counties potentially, but we do such a great job. Key fob access, you can't get into secure locations. There's locations in the central count facility I can't even get into. So, it is tightened up. That's how tight it is. So I just want people to understand that it's not just one thing and it's not one process. There's a lot of layers to that.
Yes, thank you. I think we've worked in partnership because we helped with the funding to help update the center and make it more comfortable for election judges, and also bring the line of sight. There's so many things you have done, and I'm glad you mentioned that. I don't always want to mention that there's some parts you can't even get access to, right, because there's certain specific, trained and specific folks who do, and I think those are. I think we had a Larimer Unlocked thing there, and folks raved about how well that was put on and understanding, and then hopefully they go out and tell their friends and neighbors about it. But I think it's great that we continue to be really transparent and accountable and let folks understand exactly how this works and how their ballot is safe and secure, and how they can follow it through the life of the ballot. And I really encourage people to sign up for those text messages that your ballot was counted or received, because I think it's a really nice peace of mind thing during election season. And vote early.
Vote early.
Vote early. Well, thank you so much for coming today. We appreciate you very much, and we appreciate the partnership and how we all work together. It's very great. And we're going to move on now from Commissioner Guest and discussion items. Thank you, Tina Harris and Larimer County's Clerk and Recorders. We're going to move on to another function of the Clerk and Recorder's Office, which is our Board of Equalization and referee recommendations. So I'm going to ask Commissioner Stevens to make that motion to go ahead and move us right away into the Board of Equalization. Please, could you make that motion?
Yes, Madam Chair, I move to convene as the Board of Equalization.
Thank you. There's a motion on the table. All those in favor? Aye. Passes 3-0. Okay, now we're moving on as the Board of Equalization to hear the referee's recommendations to the board as we're convened at Board of Equalization for those hearings held between July 16th, 2026 through July 22nd, 2026. Welcome, Deidre and Elizabeth. We appreciate you very much, both of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So Elizabeth Carter with the Recording Department of the Clerk and Recorder's Office. Just wanted to give you a brief update as to where we stand before Deirdre delves into the numbers for the hearings for this period. So we've entered our third week of hearings. We hope to wrap up our hearings on August the 3rd and should be able to give you, we'll be back to see you twice next week, if that's okay, on the 4th, and then a final time on August 5th where we can give you a summary of all the hearings for this year and answer any questions that you have. And I'm going to hand it off to Deirdre. Deirdre has been a champion in our office in leading the effort to schedule the hearings and coordinate with our referees, along with Diane and Lindsay, who you all know well. The Board of Equalization happens while the rest of the duties in the clerk's office and the recording department continue to take place. And so I know Tina would want me to express the gratitude to our team, the team that continues to manage our daily activities, and to Deirdre and Diane and Lindsay for all the work that they've done these last few weeks to make sure that petitioners have access to hearings in a way that works for them. So I will hand it off to Deirdre.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning, Lorinda. Again, Deirdre O'Neill from the Clerk and Recorder's Office, and I am here to give you the summary, as Commissioner Shattuck McNally said, from the hearing, the Board of Equalization hearings that took place between July 16th, 2026 and July 22nd, 2026. Within that time frame, there were a total of 395 accounts, including real property, mobile homes, business personal property, oil and gas, severed mineral rights, and possessory interest accounts. There were a total of 94 hearings that were conducted during that time frame. 44 accounts were adjusted. Of those 44, 18 account values was a stipulated change. And again, a stipulated change is an agreement between the assessor's office and the petitioner that happens before the hearing. 351 accounts of the 395 total were denied. Of that number, 320 of those were administratively denied, or what we call an admin denial. And that typically happens when the petitioner, and it's usually, honestly, we see that when it's agents who represent multiple properties. They either represent commercial properties, they represent complete subdivisions, and they are requesting an admin denial, or another way of saying it, that is they're requesting it to uphold the assessor value from that notice of valuation that they received, notice of determination. And then finally, the year-to-date percentage of change at this point is minus 3.7%. Again, as Elizabeth stated, we will be back next week on the 4th, on Tuesday, because the final hearing is scheduled for August 3rd. I believe there's only one hearing that day, but we will give you that final week, and then the total finals for that special meeting on the 5th that I will also be attending. Thank you very much for your time and for letting me present this. If you have any questions or comments, I'll be happy to answer to the best of my ability.
Elizabeth, thank you for all that you do, but Deidre, definitely, you go above and beyond. It is, when you say best of your ability, you are tremendous and just fantastic. I mean, your detail and your focus on this is very much valued, and I just want to say thank you, and I'll express that to Clerk and Recorder Harris. Just both of you are just been around for so long, and you know these things backwards and forwards, upside down and inside out, and I just want to thank you for your work. It's extremely appreciated and valued. So just want to say, you say your best of your ability. I think you go above and beyond all the time, all of you. So in that office. So Commissioner Stevens, oh, you're welcome. And I mean that wholeheartedly.
Thank you. And it is a team effort.
Yes. And I know Diane and everyone in the team and Lindsay, everyone is.
Thank you.
You guys are a fantastic team.
Thank you very much.
And I just really appreciate the work that you do together. So,
thank you.
And also what you do for us, being minutes and stuff. It's neat. It's very rarely do we have any additions or changes. It's just really, I think we take all some of that for granted sometimes in the public, I think too, doesn't understand just the attention to detail and how much work you put in. And I just want to make sure we say that publicly, that you guys, this is hard work and it's not easy work, and you guys do a tremendous job. I just wanted to thank you.
Thank you very
we don't
much.
always take that. Commissioner, take that time to make sure you hear it. I'm going to say it publicly to you. Commissioner Stevens or Commissioner Foss? Commissioner Stevens, do you have any comments or questions?
I do. Thank you, Deirdre. Really appreciate the work. One of the questions I have is around the denials. Do they have the ability then to, can you explain the process a little bit? Do they have the ability to appeal any kind of denial at a higher level? And do some people kind of almost not want the denial, but seek the denial in order to appeal it at a higher level?
That's correct. So the first level of appeals is at the assessor level, which happens in May and June. At the Board of Equalization, this is the second level. So, folks will get that notice of determination. If it was adjusted, great. If not, then they have the right now to come to the Board of Equalization. If they're happy with that adjusted, or if they're denied, which is kind of like that admin denial, they have the right then to go on to, there's the Board of Appeals, there's the District Court, there's arbitration. So there's quite a few levels that they can go at, but if they don't come to the second level, the Board of Equalization, then they cannot go on to the other levels. Same thing if they don't go through the first level of the Assessor's Office, they can't come to the Board of Equalization.
Thank you for explaining that. And then with the adjustments, that's the final. So people who have been adjusted, they can't appeal that adjustment again, or they've sort of agreed to that adjustment, and that's sort of the end of the process.
I believe that's the end. Elizabeth, do you know on that? Or can
So
we
if
still
it
go?
is adjusted and they disagree, they still have the right to move on. It's the same with your level at the first level. So the assessor's office may come back and make a change. And then they'll send that notice of determination and they say, well, that's good, but it's not quite where we want to be. So they can come to BOE or the Board of Equalization. And then all three avenues are open for the third level of appeal as well.
Great. Thank you for explaining this. It's a complicated process because we are involved, you are all involved, and the assessors are, we all have a little piece of
A
this.
lot of hands.
But, together we connect the dots, but each plays its own role sort of in how this process works. And so it may be a little confusing to the public on this. So appreciate the work. Interesting to see sort of the percentage is, did you say it's minus 3.7%
Sorry, it's
change?
0.37.
0.37.
It's not negative.
Oh, okay. So that's.
Pardon me. So
Okay,
it was
that's all
0.09 last week when we reported. But what was interesting was we didn't have any commercial properties that were considered at that time. So this week is a little bit more reflective of normal percentage of change because commercial properties were included, and those tend to have a larger value
Sure.
to them. So that change might be a bit more significant
Right.
than what was made.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you very much. Thanks again for your work. And I know this is extra work at a time when you guys have a lot on your plate, so appreciate it.
Thank you. Commissioner Kafalis, you have comments or questions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. My questions have been answered, so I appreciate that. And my comments are just to say thank you to Elizabeth, Deirdre, Diane, Lindsay, and the team. Much appreciated.
Okay, without any further questions, again, much gratitude. We will go ahead and I will ask Commissioner Stevens to make that motion for us to approve the recommendations.
Yes, Madam Chair, I move to approve the recommendations submitted by the Board of Equalization referees for the hearings held from July 16th, 2026 through July 22nd, 2026.
Thank you for that motion. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. That passes 3-0. And so thank you again. And so now, Commissioner Stevens, would you move to adjourn us and reconvene us as the Board of Commissioners?
Yes, Madam Chair, I move to adjourn the meeting as the Board of Equalization and reconvene as the Board of County Commissioners.
Thank you for the motion. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
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 Passes 3-0. Have a wonderful day. Thank you
very
all.
much.
You too.
Okay, so now we'll move on to County Manager update. Lorinda.
Thank you, Commissioners. We meet regularly, as you all know, with our two school districts and the municipalities that they serve. And so it's odd when those two meetings happen on the same week, and that happened last week. So Commissioner Kafalis and I met on Wednesday morning with the Poudre School District and City of Fort Collins representatives. And Commissioner Shattuck McNally and Lori Cadrich and I met on Thursday with Thompson School District, City of Loveland, town of Berthoud representatives. And so those are great coordination meetings. We often talk about things like safe routes to school, things that we can collaborate on. We had a lot to celebrate. We have a fair coming up, and so we made sure folks were invited to both the fair and the 50th anniversary of the 1976 flood. That commemoration will happen on Friday at 2 o'clock down at the Pulliam Building in Loveland. So those are great meetings. We coordinate a lot. In addition to that, I met with the two managers this week, the Wellington Town Manager, Patty Garcia, and Fort Collins Manager, Kelly DiMartino, and our own Sheriff, John Fay. And I try to meet regularly with all of the elected officials, and it's always a great conversation. So that's sort of the highlights of my week with the external looking things last week. Thank you.
Thank you, Lorenda. I appreciate that very much, and thanks for all your work. And it was interesting to have our meeting with the city of Loveland and Berthoud and Thompson in the Pulliam Building in what used to be historically the original chambers for the city council meetings back then. And I appreciate them reminding of us of that history. That was special. Anybody have any questions for Commissioner or for Lorenda? If not, we'll go on to Commissioner activity reports. We'll start with Commissioner Stevens.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. So last week, missed a meeting because I was at the National Association of Counties conference. That conference went really well. I did serve on a panel for the Resilient Counties Innovation Council and was able to share some of the work that we're doing in Larimer County around emergency management and fire mitigation and fire prevention and fire detection. I gathered information from Justin Weitzel and in the Sheriff's Office and Lori Hodges in our Emergency Management Office, and even some information from Kimberly Culp from LIDA. I think people were very impressed by the level of technology and innovation that we're using in our county. I mean, some of our innovation is Justin was explaining is, sound detection of fires. So the sound of ignition or it has its own particular sound, and so we have sound sensors. So that was really, people were fascinated by that. But also some of the low-tech work we're doing around community hubs. And so was really great, was very well received. People were really interested in some of the work that Kimberly had shared with us earlier from LIDA around redundancy and, a lot of concerns about, oh my gosh, are our 911 systems in danger, and really talked about the need for redundancy and making sure that those systems stay safe. So it was a great panel. And then I was appointed as chair of the National Association of Counties Transportation Committee, and we'll be just working to get the surface transportation reauthorization legislation passed. That's legislation that funds transportation across the country, including highways and other forms of surface transportation. So it's roads, highways, transit, but that we really would like to see that bill go through. It's quite favorable to counties and certainly will give us more money for roads and bridges that we need. Then on Wednesday, I attended the Emergency Works Allocation Committee meeting. We are looking at seeing if we can release some funds for the southern Colorado communities that have been hit hard by wildfires. Their people are struggling there, and so we have some additional dollars that are set aside for emergency situations. And so really looking at trying to create a policy on how to get those dollars out, knowing that it's just the beginning of the state fiscal year and it's not the end of the fire season. So how do we make sure that we have those dollars available for communities should something happen in the future? So a lot of discussion, no decisions made yet, but we'll be meeting again in August to have further discussions on that topic. The Fair Board meeting was on Wednesday night. As I mentioned earlier, the Fair Board works really hard to put on the fair. So hope you'll be joining us for the fair and really seeing some of the work that they've done to make the fair really special this year. Lots of fun activities, go visit the kids in the barns, see the animals, see the fireworks displays and the bands that will be playing. A lot of things to see and do at the fair. The fair is free, and so there's no reason not to go. And it's a great way to learn about the hard work that a lot of the 4-H kids are doing as well. you can see their animals and see their displays in the McKee building. And then after the fair board meeting, where we sort of discussed what's going on with fair, I was able to pop into the 4-H fashion review. So that is a little fashion show that the 4-Hers who are in sewing projects get to walk the catwalk and show off their clothes that they've made, and it's remarkable. I mean, some of the, especially, I mean, all of the 4-Hers are remarkable, but some of the seniors make, prom gowns and other kinds of costumes, and so always really great to support the 4-Hers. While the fair doesn't officially start till Friday, a lot of these 4-Hers have projects all week. In fact, they're bringing projects today to get judged, and so while we don't start till Friday, 4-Hers have been going for over a week. So we wish everyone luck on the fair. Then on Thursday, we had the SNAP recap with CCI. We are working on how we will share costs with the state that have arisen because of HR 1. So that was the big, beautiful bill that sought to have counties or states be more responsible for some of the administrative costs with human services, and also assesses penalties to states who have an error rate. So we are really trying to figure out how to make this work for the state of Colorado so we can deliver services like SNAP benefits and healthcare benefits to our residents. On Thursday, we also had the URA meeting. That was a good meeting. There's a lot happening with the Urban Renewal Authority in Fort Collins, especially on North College. One of the things that is exciting is there will be an event space near the old Albertsons that we're activating. I believe it's called Plaza Unidos, but I'm not positive, and my Spanish isn't as good as it should be. But that will be a place where people can gather until we, make sure that some of the buildings and some of the projects happen on that space. There'll be a place for people to gather, listen to music, see food carts, and really get to experience sort of some of the culture of North College. And then finally, just want to mention that we all attended the County Fair Parade, which went really well. It was great to see people out there. And then yesterday, I was involved with the Road and Bridge Work Group through CCI. We are looking on alternative ways to fix the deteriorating roads, particularly rural roads that maybe need more love than they have been getting. And so looking at transportation funding and how we can potentially reallocate funds or find additional funds to be able to fix some roads, especially in some counties that have a lot of that don't necessarily have a lot of tax dollars coming in, but have a lot of use of their roads, whether a lot of freight is on their roads or they're experiencing a lot of wear and tear because of people coming to recreate in their communities. They don't always get the dollars that they need to fix those roads that have high usage. So to be continued, that is a long-term project, but that is all for me. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Stevens. Commissioner Gonzalez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will yield my time.
Okay. I will go ahead and start. And Commissioner Stevens, I agree with you. I think you and I both have done a lot for NACO, speaking on behalf of resiliency and innovation. And I wanted to just remind, I think when I was at the Lahaina Fire event, really folks need to understand, I think it was a big point. I think also probably what your folks had understood is one of the greatest determinants of a community's level of resilience and ability to recover, adapt after adverse effects, especially like natural disasters and flooding, is social capital. And that's one of the reasons, Lori Hodges and all of them work so hard on these resiliency hubs and this innovation, building that capital. And what we learned also during the pandemic was that as well. And so I think that's great that I think Larimer County is still leading the way. That's really important. So I wanted to just share a few things. We had a rodeo board meeting last week. We're getting ready. They're doing some things to share a little bit about the 165-year history of the fair and rodeo. And we have the fair board, and I want to give a big shout out to Chair Rick Harris, who's been part of this for decades, and his father-in-law is who's named after the arena and the rich history there. And again, just all the details that are involved inside the arena that are very specific to the rodeo board, the timing and the rodeo cowboy trundle and all those things. So it's great work, and we have the volunteers with some of the livestock and all those things, and how that all comes together is just every year. It seems so simple, but it is a lot of work, and their expertise is rare and hard to find. That's why the rodeo board has to have very specific folks with rodeo qualifications and certifications. So it's and great that we have that. And we have some folks in the rodeo board that travel the country with other rodeos. So they know these things well, and I appreciate them sharing their expertise and their passion and purpose with Larimer County and its residents. On Thursday, I went to the North Fort Collins Business Association meeting, and that's always an early but very well-attended meeting. And the Sheriff Fayen, along with representatives from Poudre Fire Authority, shared about evacuations and preparedness and how much it costs for suppression and the planes, and he had a lot of humor. He did a fantastic job. It was really a well-received message, and I appreciate him also talking about the partnership between the Sheriff's Department and the County Commissioners, and we talked about restrictions as well. We had the Big Thompson Health Watershed Partnership monthly meeting. It's very important between the watersheds, U.S. Forest Service, the State Forest Service, Larimer County, and nonprofits, including the Conservation District and the Big Thompson Watershed and others, who all come together and talk about these projects and mitigation. I've been attending those meetings for at least 2 years now, if not more, monthly, and I'm very deep ties with them and the work that they do. I just wanted to give them a shout out because they're really convening and working on focusing on strategic and data-informed measures of how and where we can do this at landscape scale, because we are not we don't have the money or the manpower, but we're trying so hard to meet the scale and scope of the need for wildfire mitigation in our county and quite obviously the whole state of Colorado. And they find areas where they can work together to prioritize, because we continue to work in silos. We don't get this work done. We need to do it at the landscape scale. And so they've had some facilitation and some data experts come in and really fine tune where we need to do the work. And it really is focused on the watersheds. And I just want to give them a shout out because I'm grateful for those folks and their focus. And then I attended the Bass Pro Shop opening. And the reason I mention that is for a lot of you going to the Fair and Rodeo, that's open and it's right next to the Embassy Suites and near our ranch complex. And I have never been to a grand opening with that many people before. It was stunning. Probably, I would say at least 1,000 or more people. It was just, and the cars and people and the whole pomp and circumstance at Bass Pro Shops, including the founder, Johnny Morris, I think his name is, and forgive me if I don't have their name right, but it was, there was just so many people there, and he was there, and the people, Miles from the Denver Broncos, and some well-known country western singers, I guess, for the area, and they were singing, and there was a lot of expertise, and it was very large building inside, but I just wanted to kind of appreciate the partnership with City of Loveland and visit Loveland and the work and the chamber as they invited all of us to be there. Certainly in a very large building, but I just want to kind of give everyone a heads up as you're going out to Fair and Rodeo, be aware of that new traffic pattern and some of those extra activities there. And I just wanted to kind of, it was great to be there, but I was really stunned at how many people were there in the parking and everything. It was something to be navigated for sure. And then I joined the Community Advisory Board, which I did a presentation on our Choose Larimer kind of education program and understand where the budget's at and how we're going forward. And then also Dalen Figgs from our Department of Natural Resources shared to the board about our accessibility programs and the things that we do to make sure everyone feel a sense of belonging and inclusion on our open lands and our parks and open spaces. And it was really well received, and he did a fantastic job. And I wanted to give a shout out to Dalen Figgs and Megan and everyone on his team. They're just phenomenal. the work that they do. Lorenda's, thank you for bringing up our county Thompson School District, Town of Berthoud, City of Loveland liaisons meeting. Certainly, we had some new folks in the room that we worked as hard as we could to kind of bring them up to kind of how the Regional Opioid Abatement Council works together and kind of the things we do together that I think some folks, the City of Loveland, as they're new in their roles, maybe weren't aware of the complexities and the importance of partnerships, and I think that went over really well. We also had our regional later in the afternoon. I'm the vice chair of the Regional Opioid Abatement Council for that council meeting, which is at the Longview Center, and we continue to look at funding and how we're going to get this money to do the most good. It's certainly, we have some new circumstances and trying to maybe take a breath and look at how we're really trying to move the needle in certain areas with that money, because one-time funding. Great group. The person who had been representing City of Fort Collins has changed, so we re-elected a new secretary as the mayor of Estes Park. Gary Hall, and then Jacob Castillo with City of Fort Collins. I guess he's a deputy city manager now or something, and he is now representing, and bless you, coming to our meetings and also with behavioral health. And then, of course, attending in person the Natural Resources Advisory Board, which is now back at the Horsetooth Information Center. And we had some more great presentations from staff on the work that they're doing. And it was, we also had a data center presentation from Community Development and Scott Benton. There was a lot of questions on that, a lot of questions. And we elected a new chair and vice chair. So that was an important meeting as well. As we all know, we had the Colorado Forest Health Council legislative meeting. We're working on some of our 2027 legislative recommendations, which one of them is a transportation legislation, and then also working on how we are doing, getting these in front of folks and getting sponsors, since we don't have the interim committees anymore. And so that was our usual pathway. And so that continues to move forward. And then we had our CCI issues discussion, proposed issues discussion. I was able to do the first half of that, and a couple of our proposals were well received, which I was really thrilled to have, and that was really important to have that meeting, to hear from everyone and ask good questions. It was great to be at the Fair and Rodeo Parade. I think it was really well attended this year. Thanks to everyone who came out, and thanks to the City of Loveland's Police Department and the contractor they hired for traffic control. They were very friendly and very engaging this year. It was really fun to interact with them, and want to thank the Fair board, because it takes a lot of work organizing that. I want to thank all the participants, and I want to thank our Larimer County Ranch staff and events complex. They were all there, handing out candy, enthusiastic, and the work they put in to help get that all set up along with the Fair Board is really commendable, and I want to make sure they know they have my heart for gratitude. Then I drove up to the Larimer County's Farmers Market, the Soil Health and Expo and celebration. We had the blind taste test. I haven't got the results yet, but it was well attended, and a lot of folks were like, "Oh, this is great. I really enjoy this." And it was a really vibrant, and even with the heat, a lot of people at the fair, at the farmers market. And I, of course, bought several watermelon tonic drinks or whatever, the juice, watermelon juice, and thank goodness, because that was after the being so hot and sweaty at the parade, it was great to have some nourishment there, and I really appreciate all that they did. And then yesterday, just wanted to share a little bit that I had an interview with the Wilderness Society on our open space and some of those, and actually that interview went extremely well. It was from folks and some folks from indigenous tribes, and it's an indigenous tribe focus and looking at looking at how they can help craft federal policy. And so the interview went extremely well. I wanted to share that because it was something that I wasn't expecting. I was really, really pleased with how that went. And again, we had our goodbye lunch for Heidi Pruis, who is our climate smart future, our climate sustainability program manager, and she is retiring and leaving us. And I just want to give her a public shout out. Heidi, we were so sad to see you go, but we're just extremely grateful we had what time we had with you. You came on to help us set an idea and a framework into a fantastic program that I think has so much foundation that you have established underneath it that I think it will forever go forward and be a very vibrant program. Your expertise and your wonderful demeanor and your just general way of bringing people together and building relationships and bridges is just extremely valuable and special. I just can't thank you enough for all the work that you've done to get us where we're at, and your partnerships and bringing Abby along. I just want to publicly thank you for all that you've done for Larimer County and for this important program that we all wanted to see get moving. So well wishes in your retirement, and we wish you all the best. So at that, we are no other business, no legal issues, and so at 10:24 we are adjourned. Thank you.